Well, hello everybody. Welcome to the show today. Of course, this is books news for the 18th of October. Damn, damn. Anyway, 2022 is coming, and not that that's a good thing, uh, you know, but it is coming on us. Hopefully, you guys are going to have yourself a nice Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and the New Year's. We get a nice run of holidays right here at the end of the year. That's always good. And hopefully, you guys are doing things because, screw them, dude. Go out and enjoy your life, especially because we know this isn't really what they say it is. So I hope you guys are doing that. Although they're doing their best to kind of corral us with all of their inflation and stuff, though. But that's the way it is. But go, I certainly hope you guys are going to have yourselves a good Halloween. I'm going to go over here and hit that like button and that share. I hope you guys do the same. But first of all, while I'm doing that, let me say hello to Thundero. Hi, dude.
Hola, senor.
Ooh, I'm a senior. Damn it, getting
You
old.
almost are, buddy.
That's true. I am getting on it, aren't I? Damn. Oh well,
Getting close.
that's okay. The funny thing is, when you're young, you think old people suck because you're old. And I get that.
Yeah,
But I don't feel any different now than I did when I was 20. I'm wiser for damn sure, but and smarter, I'd say. But yeah, I don't feel different though. Even though you're getting older, it doesn't really kind of work that way, I guess.
right.
It just
Yeah.
continues on.
The crazy thing is I don't either. I still feel like I'm in my early 20s.
Yep.
Now, when it starts raining or the pressure
Oh yeah.
changes outside, my body quickly reminds me of my folly, but
That's true. That is true. The old joint thingies, and it doesn't help me that I live in a country where they all sit on the goddamn floor. Uh, you
oh,
know,
yeah.
yeah,
What
that's
is
a
that? What is that about? Why are they against furniture?
well, they're changing actually. The younger generation are becoming less and less Japanese in that regard. But I just happen to live in a little fishing village in the countryside, so it is like it was 100 years ago. And there's a
Yeah.
lot of houses around here that are 100 years old actually. But yeah, I just kind of where I live. If I was in Tokyo, it wouldn't be as bad. But my house is a tatami house. I mean, this is an old merchant house, right?
Nice.
Yeah. But whatever. It doesn't help on the knees though. I'll tell you that much. But it helps when you lose the weight though. Because that you don't want to be fat in Japan, dude. I'm telling you what. You do not want to be fat over here. That's for sure. We got Roger in here. We got Joshua. We got Lady Celtic Moon. Nice to see you guys. We got some fun things to talk about today. But first and foremost, Sundero, have you bothered to read a comic in the past year at all?
Yes. I
Oh,
read which one was it? Superman for All Seasons, I think. Was that the one?
oh,
Yeah,
okay, that's a
pretty
good
sure it was
one.
that one. Um, and that was good. And I think I also read All Star Superman
Oh,
because I hadn't
okay.
read it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I just went on a little Superman bender, and I was like, "Booster, give me some good Superman comics to read." And he gave me those two, and there it was.
There you go. Well, I'm backed up. I actually read that All Star Superman because the guy suggested it, so I went and read it. And it's actually
Yeah,
not bad. Yeah, I liked it.
it's real good. Yeah, I
Uh,
liked it a lot.
what I've been reading recently, however, is some of the old Alien comic books.
Uh oh.
Yeah. I was because I remember, yeah, I kind of liked some of those. I went back and read them. They're not bad. They're not the best thing. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, but it's an okay read. I've been trying to catch up and read stuff, as much as I can. But you know what I'm finding? I am not reading new stuff at all, dude. I'm really
Nope.
not. It's all old stuff. It's stuff I didn't catch before or rereading. I mean, sure. So I buy indie stuff here. The guys that try to support them, and I read all their stuff. But let's be fair. With a lot of the indie stuff we're getting out of the community, either the story is really good or the art is really good. There's not much where both are good. But oh well, these people are just trying. It's their first shot. It'll work out. It takes time. It's like anything else. You gotta practice it, right? So
Yes.
you know at least I am reading comics because it is my hobby, and I do not want to be pushed out of it. So and there's plenty of old stuff that there is there to read. I couldn't read everything when I was a kid, so It's
Oh yeah,
real
there's
good.
tons and tons and tons and tons of stuff to go back and read if you want.
Yeah,
My biggest problem is so much of it has been soured by their decisions of the last 20 years or so that it's just, man,
yeah.
it sucks.
That's true, and they're not backing up at all. We've seen that, and we'll talk about that a little bit today. But it is sad in some ways, but I'm ever the optimist, which you always seem to chide me upon.
Yeah,
But I'm not going to give that up. I'm just optimistic person. Yeah.
that's a
Uh,
shame.
oh well. Somebody says he's been reading Valerian and Thongle aside from what is that? Did I pronounce that right? Thorgal. Yeah. Aside from a lot of manga. Well, the old Valerian stuff's pretty good. That movie sucked major balls. My God, how
What I
could you
hear.
screw that up so badly?
That's what I
Because
hear.
the Valerian's old French comic book.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah, it's not bad. And especially the guy who made the movie, he made Fifth Element, which I adore. I mean, that's such a great movie. But
it
that
is.
Valerian was horrible, and I think there was really it comes down to one mistake: casting. Those two people he picked, the boy and the girl, were just horrible casting. I think that if they had had better, more appropriate people in there, especially for Valerian himself, it would have been it would have been miles better. But whatever, it is good comic though. I suggest you go read it. I know it's a foreign film, comic book, and as well, and I know it's French, which that's a double whammy. But it is pretty good. The French do makes good stuff every now and then. Yeah,
They're pretty good at the arts occasionally.
yeah,
They're one of the driving forces of the European comic market, from
they
what I
are.
understand,
They are. Yeah.
and that's a good thing because the European comic market is huge. Last I checked, doing
Sure.
well.
Well, the
I hear
British,
Valerian is really good though. I've never read it.
it is good. You should check it out. It's really well written. Of course, the British bang out comics. The Spanish do. The Italians as well. I haven't seen a German book. I'd be terrified, I think, to read a German comic book. But
See, if Germany wasn't so terrified of its own shadow
yeah.
constantly since the Hitler days,
Mm,
they could have some really cool like alternate history Hitler stories and stuff, right?
they could. Yeah.
But no, we can't have those things because Hitler bad.
Well, yeah, they have. There's a real stigma and a psychosis going on in Germany, which I kind of get.
Yeah.
But the other problem with the Germans is they're humorless.
Yes, they're not a
That's a
funny
problem.
people.
No, they don't get it. They're very good at many things, however. And that horror movie I suggested yesterday, the Blood Red Sky, it's a German movie. It's not a single beat of humor in it, which it doesn't need to be. It's a horror movie, so it works. You know, but nevertheless, I and of course many of us here and all of you listening, I'm sure, promote that keep reading comic books though. There is good stuff out there, and there always will be good stuff out there. It's just unfortunate the politic has kind of played into it here. But nevertheless, let's get into the politic, I guess, because that's what it's always about. I mean, we can't get away from it. There's very few fun things, but you know what? I found some fun today. I did, Thundero.
He did it. He
I
found
did.
some. He scraped the bottom of the barrel, and there was some still just clinging on for dear life.
That's right.
Dear life, rather.
That's right. Absolutely. So let's go ahead and get to it. That would be your cue.
Oh, I didn't know. It didn't tell me. It didn't make the little noise that you were sharing your thing.
Yeah, it's
DC
not.
Comics officially announces Superman will no longer fight for the American way. So, what way is he going to fight for?
A
DC?
better tomorrow.
Ah,
Truth,
he's not going to
justice.
fight for the way that his elderly Central Kansas conservative Christian parents taught him to fight for.
No,
No.
no,
Can't be having that.
no.
He's going to fight for metropolitan, cosmopolitan nonsense, poopy jokes, and putting your penis in places it wasn't designed to go in way.
Yeah,
Probably.
no,
That's what I'm
absolutely.
guessing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Do keep in mind, Superman has been saying, truth, justice, and the American way since
Yes.
1942. Now, that would be
Yeah.
5 years after the comic book dropped. So it shows you how popular, how quickly popular this character became. Radio syndication and stuff like that, continuing it. But it was at the end of the radio programs that they would say that, right? And of course, if you
Mm,
watch the old George Reeves black and white, which I have, they had that in there, and it's been part of his thing ever since. I mean, he does protect the entire planet, but he's an American, and he stands
yeah.
by what American represents, because the whole idea was America represents the better tomorrow right now. You see.
Yep.
And the proof is in the pudding, right? Because how many millions of people are desperate to get to America every year? How many?
Well, this
Lots.
is this is exactly Roger. This is exactly why they, whether they knew it or not, they were very smart in calling it the American way,
Hmm.
because that doesn't mean the country of America. While he
No,
was a patriotic American, he wasn't fighting for the interests of America, the country. He was fighting for the ideals
that's right.
that America is based on.
Ideals.
And if he's not gonna, which ones? Okay, so what way is he going for? Is he going the Russian way? Do you want the Chinese way, the Earth way? Because none of those are better than the American way that we found yet. As of yet,
Yeah.
that style of governance and things is the best one when it comes to cultivating freedom and
Oh,
happiness and things.
especially seeing as the majority of every country in the world is half-ass copying what we did anyway.
Yes.
I mean, but yeah, no, they worded it very, very intelligently, because those guys back in those days were smart. And the American
No.
way allows them to go after evil politicians and all that kind of
Yep.
stuff, because they may well be American, but they're not following the ideals of America. But
That's right.
and of course, better tomorrow. It sounds good, right? When you say, "Oh, all right, well, it's more international, it's more, inclusive." That's the word. But actually, we do know a better tomorrow is kind of a socialist slogan.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
100% is.
Yeah. So, Superman's socialist. There you go. And well, this is, of course, they were going to do this. They've been hinting at it. Tom King did a thing where they were hinting at it. Of course, old Superman's been put on the back burner anyway. Now we have the son of Superman, who, of course, is the new Superman. He'll kill somebody soon enough, I'm sure. He'll make some horrible, evil mistake and have to come back and show that he's a real hero, and he'll have as much good sex with the dudes as he can. And they don't even have the balls to make him just homosexual. No, he's bisexual. Uh-huh.
Uh,
Okay.
It's just, uh, listen. Bisexual men don't exist.
It's not real. Yeah.
I'm
It's
sorry to
bullshit.
burst your bubble, but if once you suck a dick, you've done sucked a dick.
Yep.
Now, if you did it under duress, that's different. We're not talking about that. But if you
No.
willingly,
No.
as an adult, put a penis in your orifice, any of
As
them,
this is.
that was not your own,
Yes.
you are a gay man, and that's
Yes.
okay.
You
Just,
are a gay man.
just be a gay man.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. I don't understand. I never understood this whole bi thing. It doesn't make any sense.
No.
Yeah. Okay. So you're just a whore. All right. Fine. Okay, whatever. But it's the same thing with the gender argument. There are two genders, and those very ultra rare examples of weird chromosomal matching is the proof in the pudding, right? It shows that, well, that is such an oddity. That is a mutation. That is an abnormality. Yeah, and people want to be abnormal. It's okay. You can be weird. I'm good with that. I don't have a
I'm
problem with
weird.
people
I'm
being
fine
weird.
with it. Just embrace it, baby. Fly that freak flag. But
Yeah.
stop trying to tell other people what to do and think. Just
Yeah.
knock it off. How about
That's
that?
true. That's true. But there you go. Of course, I'm surprised it took them so long to get Superman, to be honest with you, because these people have anything that men like, anything that represents goodness, they are attacking just across the board, right? I mean, any little thing you go look for the most minute and obscure thing, and you're going to find it's under attack, right?
Yep.
The funny thing is, because it is funny, I find it quite comical that women's things are starting to be hit as an aside, as a side effect. Women's things are starting to get hit too, and now the women get pissed, which is good because the only time anything changes anyway is from the women's doing it. This has all been started by women; it'll be ended by women. It's always what the women want, and it's always been that way. And Booster says, "Americans, yeah, fuck you, Booster." Okay, yeah, moving right along.
The great thing about Superman is if DC Comics goes out of business tomorrow, they disappear forever. They're gone.
Mhm.
Superman will persist because for whatever reason, the our civilization, especially the West, has a messianic complex,
Yeah,
and Superman has really clicked that bell for a
it
lot of
has.
us
It's true.
since his inception, which was the point of him. And I don't see that going away. I don't. People keep trying to reimagine Superman. Blah blah blah. What always happens? What's always happens? Eventually, they take him right back to where they started. Right back to that 40s, 50s, 60s era of Superman is eventually what comes back, at least in tone,
Yeah,
to some degree, because that's what people want. People think they want edgy Superman. They think they want gay Superman or black Superman. They don't want that. And when you actually talk to people and have a conversation with them, especially women, by the way, they don't want Superman to change. They like that he's a big, strong, sexy, caring man.
yeah,
They like that
that's true.
because
That's
they're
true.
women and that's what they want in their men.
Yeah, and the
It's
good thing for
very
me,
simple.
yeah, it is. It's true. And the good thing for me is the Messiah complex, or as Thundero had just said, over here in the Orient, is a big fat smiley guy. It's good for me, dude.
Yeah.
It's good for me. I mean, I've lost quite a bit of weight, but back when I was heavier, I would literally have little old ladies gliding across the floor just to touch my belly.
Oh my.
I shit you not. Yeah,
Oh my.
it's considered good luck, right? It all works out. Joshua says if Superman doesn't like the American way, he can leave our planet and fight for the Milky Way. Fair enough. And that, fair enough. Somley says, ignore the current stuff. Only read the material you consider the proper continuity. That's true. Yeah, that's what we said in the beginning. That's true.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
pretty much where we're at now. That's where I am with all of it. It's if I don't like it, or if not so much if I don't like it, if I find it offensive to the continuity or the canon that came before it, I just disregard it
yeah, yeah,
because
that's
there's
fair.
just there's no reason not to. I don't care who owns you. All they own the property. So what? It's intellectual property. I'll do with it as I please. How
That's
about
right.
that?
That is exactly true. You can consume things as you like. And Booster has claimed his celibacy. Sweet.
Disney alters upcoming release schedule, pushes back Indiana Jones 5 and multiple Marvel films. You know why?
Why?
Reshoots.
Reshoots.
They're
Yeah.
busy with reshoots of the stuff they were going to release
Yep.
early next year.
Yep. There's a shift going on.
So
That's true. Yeah.
something's happening.
Yeah.
It's one of two things. They're either quadrupling down on the nonsense, or they're just kind of pulling that out. They're just da, 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 da.
It's Chapek.
It's one of two things. One or two things. And I think you're right. I think it's Mr. Chapek. I think he's decided he would like to make money under
Yep.
his tenure.
Yep.
He just I don't know. He's like that sounds like a good idea to
Yep.
me.
I agree. I think that's what he's doing. I imagine just to appease the insufferables, he'll let one or two slide through. But in general, that's what's going on, and we know that. We saw a
Yeah.
perfect example of that with the Bond movie. We know they were going to make that ultra woke, and it came out
Yep.
not much woke at all because they went and spent a lot of money reshooting. But I thought it'd be interesting just to look at see what is coming out, even though pushed back. Of course, the Indiana Jones thing, which nobody asked for and nobody wants.
Nobody.
Nobody wants
Nobody.
this. of course, it's just replacing Indiana Jones with a lady anyway. So, Doctor Strange and the Verse of Madness isn't even going to be about Doctor Strange. It's all about Wanda. So who cares?
No.
Thor, Love and dude, bite me. All right. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. I mean, come on, dude. Come on.
Wakanda forever.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever.
I will give him this. That's a
Um,
pretty good little slogan. I like. That's a good job.
Yeah,
That's
well,
good.
playing on the marketing, right?
Yeah.
For sure. And the first movie was very, very blasé in my opinion, but it was watchable. I mean, it was watchable. But it wasn't a great movie. Hopefully, it improves. That's all I can say. Because I've always liked Black Panther. The thing I don't like about it is they're making it all woke, and Black Panther was never woke. He's
No.
just the king of Wakanda. I mean, he's just doing his thing. He's protecting his people. The Marvels, no one is going to watch that,
Wakanda
dude.
forever.
Forever
Forever.
and ever. So
I
there,
just like how Black Panther was, and yes, I get at the end he had a change of heart, but up until the end of that movie, he was straight up the evil alt right. You hear the air quotes Nazi but he was black because he wanted
Yep.
to keep his country protected
Yep.
and sealed off and made sure it stayed Wakandan and all this other stuff. All these things that they claim are pure evil, he
It's
was
true.
100% on board with. And those are white supremacy too, I'm told, Chester. That's the new one. All
Oh,
of
is
that
it?
stuff's white supremacy. Yeah,
Oh,
anybody
okay.
else who does it apparently is fine, but only if it's white folk
I
doing
think
it, then it's
someone
a
should tell
problem.
the black people. Booster, how you feel? How's the celibacy going?
It's going great, just that no one wants to fuck me.
Aw, aw,
Mister,
aw.
we need to get
Just
you over
as
here. You and I will
planned.
start going to the gym together. We'll get you nice and buffed out. Have that
Yeah.
accent, you'll do well. You do
Yeah, I'll be
well.
like, hey ladies, how you doing?
No,
Hey
don't do
bro.
that. Don't do that.
Oh,
Do
you wanna
not
come
that.
to my place? We'll have some
No, no,
sex.
no, no.
I'll bang you out real good.
Okay, oh, there you
Yeah,
go.
bro.
That's good. That's
Yeah,
a bang you
bro.
out real good. That's New Zealander.
Oh,
That'll
Sweet.
work. Yeah, that'll definitely pull them. They'll just be pulling it in like crazy.
The
oh,
ladies will
bitch, I
love
smell your
that.
pussy from here. Fucking hell, close your fucking legs, cunt.
Oh, Jesus Christ. There you go. He
That was
used
a
the
bit
C
much,
word
yeah.
too. Yeah, it's foreign,
Yeah,
my
that's a
man.
bit much, yeah.
A
You
bit
have to move
much,
to
yeah.
this part of the country to use the C word, Booster, and then you got about a 50-50 chance of getting a screeching harpy who gets mad when you use it, or one like my wife who will just laugh. That's
Yes.
No.
everywhere else in America that word is cancer. They
Yeah,
will just lose their shit at it.
why did that word in America become so vile compared to the
Don't
way the
know.
rest of the English world uses it?
It just means vagina. I don't understand
Yeah,
why
but
it's
it's
so like
Because they're cunts, I don't
enraging.
know.
yeah, I think so. But I mean, because the rest of the English speaking world kind of uses it as ass or jerk,
Yeah.
you know. It's not as offensive, but Americans, boy, they're over the top of it. But anyway, continue with this. The Marvels, once again, nobody cares. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumanium, maybe. I enjoyed the first Ant-Man movie. The second one should have just been the Wasp. I don't know what they were doing. And then some untitled movie, which whatever. They've also canceled two or three movies that they were going to make that are just gone now. They're just gone. And it looks like what they did was Marvel and these big companies will go out, and they'll kind of put holder dates in place to let the other people in the industry know what they're going to be doing. Check. It's a nice little formality to help each other out. I think it's a good thing. But all they did was they took all these things that they had set for this year and the beginning of next year, and they just moved it ahead one shift in things that they already said they were going to drop movies in. So they basically dropped a year, is what they've done. They've dropped a
Yeah.
year. So the problem is a lot of those movies, a lot of people aren't very interested in them. So I don't even know if reshoots are going to help them out. What about you, Booster? Are you interested in any of these flicks here?
I could give less of a tit.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's the general thing. Most people don't care about any of this stuff. I mean,
But that's just
honestly,
me, I don't know. There might be some normies that still want to see Marvel shit, but
I don't
I'm
know.
I
kind of
stopped caring a long
interested.
time ago.
I'm kind of interested in good old Doctor Strange mom, just because I want to see what they're gonna do. But it's more of a not so much that I care about the storyline or any like I'm invested. I'm just interested. I want to see what they do with the multiverse. I want to see if they get crazy with it.
Well, they're going to kill Doctor
Uh,
Strange. I guarantee you that.
yeah, but by the end of it, Mister Stephen Strange is probably a dead man.
Yeah, he
Um,
definitely is. Yeah.
Thor: Love and Thunder is an abomination unto God, and the man who is responsible for it should be crippled. Uh,
Wow.
Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is gonna do well, regardless of whether it's crap or not. Just because you've got the death of what's his name? His name just went out of my brain. The guy who
Chadwick.
played Black
T'Challa.
Panther.
Oh
Yeah.
shit.
What the
We should be
frick
friends with
brain?
this.
His name is
Shit.
Chadwick.
Chadwick
Chadwick
Boseman.
Boseman. Alright.
Yeah. So
Very
the people are going to be
disrespectful.
interested to see because I don't. Do you think they spoil what the plan is? Like, do you think they spoil what they're going to do with Black Panther? Who's going to become Black Panther, or do they wait till the movie comes out?
Well, they have a problem with that because they were initially just going to make Shuri the new Black Panther, which
Yeah,
she's a horribly annoying character. But the problem is that actress has said things she's not supposed to say, so now she is
yeah.
officially canceled.
She
So I
has an
don't know what they're
opinion
going to
she's
do.
not permitted to
Yeah,
have.
you're not
Yes.
opinion, not but
Ant Man and the Wasp. I didn't like any of the Ant Man movies. They're not bad. They're just They feel C-list, and that's exactly what they are.
I love the first
Uh,
one. I thought it was funny. I think it's the funniest Marvel movie is that one. But I do love the name Chadwick though, Booster. The
is a
Burning
good name,
Chad.
Chadwick.
that is pretty
That's
rad.
pretty badass, man. Yeah.
I knew a
Chad of
Chadwick
fire.
actually.
Yeah, no one does.
Yeah,
That's true.
just
Uh,
Doctor Strange, and that's mostly just a curiosity. Like I want to see what
yeah,
they do with the multiverse, if anything. Other than that, no, I don't care about any of these.
yeah.
The one thing I
I,
want them to do with Black Panther, they're obviously not going to do because they haven't cast him. So we're not going to be getting any Killmonger resurrection to take over
if they
because
want
that's
to
the
do a
thing that makes the
Scarlet
most
Witch,
sense.
if they want to do a Scarlet Witch movie, they should just call it Scarlet Witch and write off the success of WandaVision.
Which was unsuccessful. I don't know what you're talking about. Roger says Chester has that comic
Excuse me.
book. Well, hold on a second. Chester has that comic
I
book
know you don't just get to like make
where
a little
they're
swipe
going
then
to kill
continue.
off Doctor Strange. Has it come out? They've already started it. Yeah, it has started. Yeah. Go ahead, Booster.
WandaVision like made millions, had millions of views. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but in the end, it just pissed people off, though.
Did it?
Yeah, yeah. It's considered
I
Dude,
don't know.
ending, dude.
Well, some people it did. I'd say it more. People were just like, "Oh," like, like there
yeah.
was parts of it that were really cool. Like I thought the whole Vision thing was pretty good. That scene in the library was really good. He was the best part of the show. Paul Bettany was, I think.
Well, yeah.
I think a lot
Good
of people
actor.
were annoyed that she just got away with it. Basically, like she
Yep.
just terrorized this whole fucking town for however
And,
long it was,
and
and
yet
nothing
she's a
happened. No
hero.
I
consequence.
didn't like
Right.
things like that.
You don't
Yeah.
know what she went through. Oh, okay.
The people will never understand what you went through. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was some bullshit. Yeah.
Bullshit. But anyway, let's move on here to something extremely comic book related. Star Trek. Now, before I have this headline read, I know you guys are saying that it's Chester, Star Trek is not comic books. The hell it isn't. The hell it isn't. Boom.
Would you look at that?
Take that.
Well, would you look at that?
Old Captain
Counts.
Kirk right where he should be, and old little no balls George down at the bottom. It's perfect. Okay, go ahead.
Ooh, my. Ooh, I love being on the bottom.
Oh,
Star
sure.
Trek star William Shatner responds to George Takei non-star insult. Oh, is that insulting? George Takei's insulting of Shatner's spaceflight. The only time he gets press is when he talks bad about me.
Now, we
Yeah,
talked about
what the
this.
fuck is with George Takei's hatred?
He's pissy. He is pissy. But we talked about this a little bit yesterday. But I wanted to show this solely to talk about William Shatner's response because it is perfect. So, Booster, you're the voice guy, so I would like you to do
Oh,
your
no.
best William Shatner here, please.
You gotta make me do a Shatner?
Yeah.
All right. Oh, well, let me do my voice exercise. Why? Don't hate George. The only time he gets press is when he talks bad about me. He claims 50 years ago, I took away a camera angle that denied him 50 more seconds of primetime TV. Shrug. I'm giving it back to him now by letting him spew his hatred for the world to see. Build a pig.
Yes. Yes. Very good. Very good. Very good. The delays you could have had a little more pause, a little bit more.
I could have, but then we'd be here forever.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Probably took
Don't.
him about 3 hours to write
Hey,
because his
George.
pausing.
George.
But
You.
what a clever response, dude.
Oh, he's Shatner. You can't out troll him, man. You can't do it. Don't even try. And if you try, you're gonna lose. He's a grandmaster troll.
Yeah.
He might be he's definitely the oldest grandmaster troll still going. It's still going on the interwebs like nobody's business. But this is a dude who in his 80s was regularly trolling through 4chan, just all sorts of stuff. Like this dude lives to troll people.
Yeah.
It's quite impressive that a 90-year-old man still has any wit whatsoever.
Yeah. No, he's just
Yet
slaying
alone
it.
this much.
You know,
What
it's
energy like
him
he
and
does.
it's Dad Jeans Cool, James Woods, that are actually giving him hell, dude. It's funny.
Mm-hmm.
That was a John Carpenter's vampire reference there. If you didn't catch it.
I see. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry, I was trying not to die from a cough and fit. And one of my neighbors is smoking weed, and I can smell it. Bastards. Um,
Hey, now
but no,
leave the hippies alone, man.
I wish I could. Good old Shatner. He's unfallible. Not unfallible, unflappable. In
Unflappable.
in
Yeah, that's the
these
word.
in these sorts of exchanges. I've watched him do it. He used to go in on feminists and stuff on Twitter. I don't think he's done it in a long time, but he used to, and just go in on some of the nonsense they would spew,
Mm.
especially about his time, like the '60s or whatever, and just correct it. Just tell him, no, you're wrong. I was there. I lived it. You're full of shit, basically.
Yeah.
But he would do it in such ways that were just so disarming that there was no real rebuttal.
Yeah.
Like, what's George going to say to this? What's he going to say to it? There's nothing. You lose. Just take your L and walk away.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
it.
Mhm.
George just can't shut his mouth, in because he's always saying things that are offhanded, odd. But
He is a hateful little man.
he
I've
is hateful.
I've scrolled through his Twitter, and that it's all it is. It's just him seething about Trump and Republicans
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
Yeah,
all that kind of shit.
yeah.
He's just a nasty little thing now.
Yeah, he's unhinged. But the funny thing about William Shatner has a few other actors as well. Of course, he's famous for being Captain Kirk, but my favorite Shatner stuff is Denny Crane.
Mm,
He is
Oh,
badass in that Boston Legal, dude.
yeah,
mhm.
he's not bad at all.
It's
At all.
funny, funny. Him and James Spader, I think, is the guy's name, right?
Yep.
Yep, yep.
Yeah. Just what a great pairing of those two, man. It's freaking awesome. There's a few like that. Like, of course, Mark Hamill. Well, we know he's a libtard. He would be on George's side here, I'm sure.
Yeah,
But
libtard.
well, he is though. But everyone kind of associates him with Luke, which of course I understand that. But his Joker is what I like best because
Yeah,
he
he's the
just
best
murdered
Joker.
that dude. I mean,
Yeah.
Jesus, man. There's a few guys like that are known for one thing, but they're better at another thing, actually. But you
I
get
mean,
him,
yeah,
get
Mark
get him,
Hamill's
William.
the definitive. He's the definitive Joker. Every Joker
Yeah,
is based off that Joker,
yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah, and it was so off-putting because that Joker movie came out with Joaquin Phoenix, which I appreciated. It was a really well-made movie. It
Yeah,
was really good, well made. And I liked the movie, but when he finally becomes the Joker, he's so effeminate,
yeah.
which works for the Joker, but he's so effeminate it
It
throws me
was
off.
strange.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But it's a great movie though, so that doesn't really matter. And it's just more proof again. Yeah, Star Trek comic
Yep.
book. Okay.
IDW.
IDW, right? And before. Oh, you say, well, wait a minute. Hold on a second. For Booster Reasons, you guys say, Clint Eastwood's not a comic book guy either. What are you doing, Chester? This is supposed to be about comic books. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Take that shit. Take it.
Is it gotcha again?
Gotcha again, dude. Don't
Got him.
mess with
What are
me.
you people doing, huh?
Don't mess with me. All
Paired
right,
even.
go ahead.
Cry Macho director Clint Eastwood. How about just legendary fucking individual Clint Eastwood?
Yes.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Accused of racism by woke mod for comment made during 1973 Academy Awards. I've seen this, and can I say that I hope the guy who did his little Twitter thread right got his dopamine hit that he wanted from getting 10,000 likes on his Twitter post. Claps for him, right?
Yeah, claps.
For
Good job.
10,000 likes for canceling Clint Eastwood,
Yeah. Yeah.
because that will never become even a fucking fraction of Clint Eastwood's legacy.
Yeah. No,
You pitiful cunt.
yes, yes. Evil Joshua says, Chester is 10 steps ahead of us. Yeah, don't you mess with me, dude. I got my
I need
shit.
you to remember that Clint Eastwood had a successful, very short career as a politician. He was a
He
mayor.
did. Yeah.
Nobody knows that. Most people, they become a mayor, and that's kind of the feather in their cap. But Mr. Eastwood, that's not. It's basically a factoid,
It was a
right?
hobby. Yeah.
Nobody really even knows it
Hobby.
because he was like, I'm not going back. He doesn't want to go back into politics or anything.
Yeah, it's
Eastwood
probably annoying as
is
shit, dude.
whatever's beyond a legend. That's what he is.
Yeah, no,
He's
he's
mythical
impressive.
in his level.
He is Americana, is what he is.
Yeah.
But anyway, let me cover this article because I think it's pretty funny. Because
Yeah.
what you have here, of course, 50 years ago. Yeah, I get it, dumbasses. But Marlon Brando. Now, I'm sure some of you know his name. I think some of you probably even know more about him. Marlon Brando is a pretty good actor. He is. We'll give him props for his props, but he's also also was an insufferable human. I mean, he's
Yep.
just annoying as hell.
That's
He
why he
is
didn't go anywhere after Godfather.
Well, yeah, but he's an SJW before we had the term. He's always been insufferable, dude.
Nice.
Marlon Brando. His stink don't shit type of person, right? But anyway, he was going to be given an award for best actor for Godfather, which yeah, it's a pretty good performance. And he refused it because he sent up this lady here. Her name is Little Feather, which is cute. That's cute. That's cool. I like it. It's cute. But Little Feather came up here and to not accept the award for Marlon Brando, and she basically got up and spoke for quite a while. You can watch it here if you'd like. And she's talking about how horrible it was that Indians in movies get shot and killed. Racism. Racism, right?
Right.
But that's the whole thing. It's about movies representing Indians getting killed, and it's like, well, yeah, I mean, sure, these are
People
fan.
get killed.
Yeah, people get killed in movies that have
I,
violence in them. Yeah, but what happened was, because we're talking about Clint Eastwood here. Clint get up here, and after her speech, he came up to give Best Picture award for Francis Ford Coppola, of course, Godfather, and he was one. And he says, he basically get up and just kind of making a joke. He says, "I don't know if I should present this award on behalf of all the cowboys shot in the John Ford westerns over the years." So
yeah.
he's saying, well, yeah, the cowboys got shot too. Right? He's
It's
just doing it.
such an offhand joke.
Yeah, yeah. And this is it. That's it.
That's all it is.
That's all it is. Yeah. Yeah.
It was just an offhand joke because people in that room were pissed.
Yeah.
So Clint Eastwood made it lighthearted
He
again with
lighted
just
the mood, lighten the mood. Yeah,
a
that's right.
wee joke. Yeah.
Yeah, because of course Marlon Brando was trying to upstage everybody by showing his ass by sending an unknown little American Indian girl in there to bitch and yell at them all. That's what he was doing. It was all about Marlon. It had nothing to do with the Indians. I guarantee you that, right? But yeah, that's exactly what Clint was doing. He's lightening the mood, right? And of course he's not wrong, right? But this is the whole thing. 50 years ago, and there are so many more things that if I was a blown out SJW, I could complain about Clint Eastwood.
Oh my God, yeah. Are you kidding me?
A movie where he casually just rapes a woman at the beginning of the movie,
Yeah,
and she
Yeah,
and
likes
he's
it.
the good guy of that
yeah,
movie, by the way.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
the
yeah,
protagonist.
yeah,
Yeah, and,
yeah.
and he's the protect. That was his heroic moment.
That's racist. Oh, don't worry about Harry. He hates everybody equally. Yeah, yeah. But whatever. It's just dumb. This guy is just, trying to. He's just putting his hand up, saying, "Look at me, look at me." Booster was 100% right. He just wants the clicks, and that's
Yep.
all it ever comes down to. Yeah,
And he got his little clicks. Well done, my son. Well done.
yeah. Good for you, dude. Good for you.
And like I
That,
said, he will never be as successful as Clint Eastwood. Never.
One
Not
thing
even
that
a sniff. Not even a fraction upon a fraction.
no.
oh no, he'll be forgotten the day after he dies. Clinton will never be forgotten. Um, One thing that annoys me about this right here that you have up here, Islam, Muslims, not a race,
Yeah,
multiracial, worldwide religion of over 1 billion people,
yeah,
not a race. You
yeah.
can't be racist against them. You could be bigoted against
There
them,
are
sure.
ginger Muslims,
There
There are
are.
many of them, in
which,
fact.
to
It's
be
a
honest,
very big subset.
we should be able. We need a category so we can be racist towards ginger Muslims.
Just
That
be
is true.
just
That is
well, they're
true.
gingers.
Yeah.
First of all, let's start there. They don't have
Yeah.
a soul. Like we all know that. That's established.
So what's Allah doing with that? Come on.
Yeah, I don't even know. I
Well,
think he's just trying to get terrorists, suicide bombers, and he's like, "Listen, these are basically dogs, so we'll use that."
yeah. Well, the American Sniper thing was pretty interesting. It was quite the phenomenon. It was a big, big hit. Of course, Clint Eastwood involved. But it's telling. It's more of a docudrama, right? It's
Yeah.
telling the story of a real life person who did a lot as in his job as a military sniper and came home and died in a stupid way. Spoilers.
Yeah.
But that's all it is. It's just simply a look in the life of a rather successful sniper, and it just so happens that he was at war with people that are, of a Muslim persuasion. Are we
Yes.
going to go back and kind of look at some of the other movies that have snipers in them and say that you're being racist toward Germans or Russians?
Well, it's the same exact problem of, crying that Indians were shown as being killed a lot because they were often the bad guys in a lot of old westerns.
Sure, because they
Guys,
were.
they were the bad guys in the old west a lot of times. Not always. And yeah, they gave as good as they got, and they got as good as they gave, maybe even more so. But
Oh yeah.
still, this was a two-way street. This isn't the ridiculous notion that, by the way, John Wayne was guilty of promulgating, that these people were just peaceful and we just came and we just took all their stuff. That none of that was never true
No.
for any of the tribes, not mine, not any of them. They were not just
Eh,
peaceful little farmers who got pillaged by the Viking raiders
Alright.
from Europe.
no.
Can you
And
guys answer in 30 words or less? Is there any other race that we have that in this world that pisses and moans for their enemies?
No,
Alright, good. Yeah, there you go.
Germans, maybe.
no.
No, they're still
Only,
white.
only,
What I'm talking
only the
about is white.
whites, as
You know,
Mr. Taylor would say, only
not
the
quite.
whites.
Oh, the
Uh,
whites.
yeah, no,
All
I
they do is
probably
like
not.
piss and
Yeah,
moan for their enemies. It's like, oh my god.
yeah, they do. Well, but man, that's just the way it is, I guess.
Hey
But
Victus, you nerds.
well, and the thing with we're talking about Native Americans, you have to kind of separate what the history, what happened in the East from what happened in the West. You have to
That's right.
separate it, and of course, keep in mind that when we talk East and West, we're talking about the Mississippi as being the separating line, right?
Yes.
East of the Mississippi, west of the Mississippi. A lot of people don't get that. And that's weird. But anyway, what happened in the West was very different because you had a lot of just civilians just going out trying to set up their homes, and the
Yes.
problem is they ran into tribes like the Pawnee, and because plenty of tribes they got along just fine, they traded with them and they had good relationships, no problem whatsoever. But when you run into tribes like the Pawnee, the all the other Indians hated those shitheads too. They were
Right.
just murderous raiders. They were horrible, and they were killing civilians. So the American government didn't have much of a choice. They kind of had to get up in there. Now the American military probably went too far in a few cases. I would agree, but that was what precipitated it. It
But that's
wasn't,
war.
go kill the Indians. That wasn't even the point.
There was never. This is the problem. People have swallowed the idea that America genocided the Indians. That's not true. There was
Mm-mm,
never once a policy of eradication that
never.
was not instigated by the actions of the natives. That's the truth.
That's the truth.
That's
And
the factual truth of our history. Now, it sucks because as a part native, it sucks to have to be honest about it, but it's the truth. And they talk about like the smallpox blankets. There's
well,
maybe one or two cases where anything even remotely like that happened,
and it
and
didn't
it had
happen.
nothing to do
Yeah,
with the massive death that happened because of the explorers by accident. It was completely accidental. They didn't
yeah.
know they were carrying diseases that would wipe these people out.
Germ theory wasn't even a thing, dude. But
Right.
yeah, but another thing to keep in mind with the Americans is the fact that there are far more examples of Europeans and natives getting along and working
Yes.
together than there are not. Far more.
Correct.
But no one ever talks about that. It's always about the bad incidents. And there were some really bad ones. I'd say
Oh
one of
yeah.
the worst ones in our history was the goddamn liberals and the Cherokee of Trail of Tears. That was
Yes.
bullshit.
It was terrible.
Yeah,
That was my people. That's what I am. I'm Cherokee.
yeah,
That was terrible. But it was also 200 years ago.
yeah,
Like, it's time to maybe just move on. I don't know. Maybe let the ghosts be the ghosts and let the
yeah.
past be the past.
Hey
Because
man,
Cherokee are doing pretty well today, folks. They're doing all right. They're
you know
better than
I
they've ever been.
I wouldn't kick little feather out my bed though.
Oh, she's a cute little
She's a
Indian.
cutie
Yeah, she
little
can get
Indian
some.
there. You like this one, Booster?
Oh, is a nub. Yeah, yeah. I'd smooch her consensually.
There
Yeah,
you
of
go. There
course.
you go.
That's rule one, Booster.
Yeah.
Rule
Yeah.
one.
She's got nice little leather head ponytail bands. Yeah, yeah, she's cute. She's cute. You get
Nice
Yeah.
them.
long dark hair. I like it.
Yeah, yeah, nice, nice, nice. Okay. Just once again, don't come at me, bro. Come at me. Okay.
Yeah,
All right. All
get
right.
out
Back.
of here, nerds.
Now here we go. This is for
Ah,
Booster. This one's perfect.
Chester, I was reading this series.
I know.
I
Was
caught
the
this one
after work.
before there was any news about it. I was half asleep. I was, I was just, I always read comics before I go to bed, right? So, I was half fucking asleep. I was drifting off, and then I see this fat fucking abomination of a character introduce themselves, and then out of nowhere say pronouns he, him, they, and then I close it and I unsubscribed from this fucking series. I thought I was having a fever dream, but fucking hell. If you want to do this pronoun shit, you do not throw it in the middle of casual conversation. Like, there was all these little tidbits here and there, right, of SJW nonsense throughout this comic,
Sure.
The first issue, Superman says, "Hello, gentlemen, ladies, others." I was like, kind of cringe, but whatever, right? I'll deal with it. The second issue, Natasha Steele, she's literally fighting internet trolls who were denying COVID. I was going, fuck it hell. But,
Yeah.
my boy Midnighter is in this comic, alongside Superman, alongside Manchester Black. I wanted to like it so badly.
Yeah. Well, see, they're not going to let Midnighter be Midnighter though. See, he's a classical gay character, and they're going to have to play on that, and they're just going to tear
To be,
apart the character, right?
It's such a
to
cool
be
name
honest,
too.
they were
Midnight.
they were fine. Midnighter and Apollo, they were fine.
They were fine. Yeah. No
Uh,
one cared.
Same with Superman. Same with Manchester Black. It was just everything else around it was just so fucking insufferable. Then this fucking thing comes along, just and out of nowhere, he, him, they. Who? No one. We don't talk like that.
No. Well, some people do. Yeah. Yeah.
Who the fuck talks like that? Don't make characters randomly announce their pronouns. It's fucking cringe.
Well, it falls into the awful 20% of humanity. Yeah. Yeah. And that's the problem. That 20%, and as you go down and shrink your percentages, it gets worse and worse and worse. But the rest of us other 80%, have to deal with that noisy, obnoxious 20%. We always do. What the world would be without them. Yeah. I imagine they'd say boring, but okay. But yep, transgender OMAC. Of course, you needed that. That's important. Got it. Now, this is a female to male transgender.
I guess it's supposed to be. I can't tell.
I can't tell either. But of course, that's the point, I think, right? But yeah, no. Okay. And how did they make the character so ugly looking? Olmec used to look pretty cool. What the hell is this?
Practice.
I guess. I
Yeah.
don't know. But
Yeah,
there you
I don't
go.
even know.
This is coming out of the Authority, correct?
Superman and the Authority.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
something I was very excited for. There's the panel.
yeah, yeah.
Where she
Oh
goes, I'm
my.
there. Pronouns, he, him, they. What the? Not to mention, Midnighter's costume is really boring in this. Look, there he is in the black. He's just all black.
Yeah, where's the trench coat, dude?
Exactly. He's supposed to have a fucking red trench coat.
What in God's name is Superman wearing? Oh,
I don't know. He needs people
oh,
to really pay
that's an
attention to his
abomination.
crotch. Yeah, and they made his
That is an
crotch so little.
abomination.
Superman needs a bulge, baby. What are you doing? All right.
Oh,
There's an older looking Olmec.
That's a Kobe.
Yeah, okay. No, thank you. Yeah. Ah,
Just,
well, moving
just the
on.
worst. Just the cringiest shit.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Yeah.
Thanks,
It gets
Grant Morrison. I know
cringier.
what he is now. Kevin Smith bringing back He-Man as a goofy idiot Neanderthal. Well, Cosmic Book News, you're right last time, so let's go. Let's party, baby. Bye, boy.
Well, no, this is just
quietly.
kind of looking in the toys and some of the little stuff that's coming with the toys, and it looks like
Fucking toys. What the
He-Man in the
fucking toys?
toys is a not a barbarian, because keep in mind He-Man originally was going to be Conan. That was the idea,
Yes.
but it ended up, they couldn't get the rights. But he's not a barbarian coming back as a barbarian. He's an oaf that doesn't understand anything. He's really dumb. And the suggestion here from Cosmic Book News, is which Booster is alluding to, is the fact that this toy is representative of what's coming in the season 2, right? Because it is part of that collection of toys. But of course, we don't necessarily have any proof that the two are connected. However, the toy, without question, is dumb, dumb, really super dumb, Savage He-Man. So, and he literally, duh, what's that? He's literally that. And they're just making an assumption that this is representative of what Kevin Smith is doing. We don't know that, although it's probably true. What do you think about that, Booster? Did I unpack that well enough?
Let's you unpacked it beautifully.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
let's party. Yeah,
yeah. Well, now here's the
I
thing.
love it.
What if in season 2 when He-Man comes back, because we know he will come back. What if that is exactly what he does with He-Man though?
It would. I think people would hate him even more, and all the people that are saying, "Wait until the second half of the season. It's not finished yet. It's not finished."
Mhm.
I think they'll shut their dirty whole mouths.
Yeah, that's probably true. But I just thought this was interesting. I know when we're looking at cosmic book news, we need to take it with a pinch of salt because it's cosmic book news, and they're usually full of shit. However, the headline is not accurate, but the toy is. So, well, we'll see. We'll see. I want to end up. Well, I got one other thing we can talk about after, but I wanted to take a look at this real quick because I'm curious what you guys think.
Is this is this bait?
Maybe.
Rainbow Rowell and Rogi Antonio relaunch She-Hulk for 2022. Is that the cover or
It is. It is. Now, here's the thing.
but
I went and did a
but
little
I can jerk
research.
off to this.
You could. You could. Now, Antonio here, he's a pretty good artist. If you look at some of the work here, and you can go
Not
check his
bad.
name out. He's not a bad artist, and of course, She-Hulk looks more She-Hulk-esque. And
Yeah,
if you read the blurb here, it sounds great. It's all positive and bubbly, and yay, Jen's back, and all that kind of stuff. And all right, so it sounds good. But really, what caught my eye was the person who's writing it,
yeah,
Rainbow
Rainbow Rowell.
Rowell.
You
So I
should
was like,
beware of someone who calls themselves Rainbow.
yes, beware. But also, another thing that caught my eye was that Rainbow Rowell is the young adult novelist for Runaways. Now, when I was younger, and Runaways first came out, it was fun premise. I like the idea. A bunch of kids of supervillains rebelling against their parents and trying to do the right thing and on the run. Right? It's a cool little idea. But they came out with a TV series. Did you guys watch that series?
No.
I watched the first season. Yes.
Yeah. And eh, eh. And of
Yeah,
course
basically.
they were more
It,
interested
they
in the.
stripped away the fun of it.
Yeah, that's true. They took away the fun. They're more interested in the lesbianism, which
Yeah.
is seemingly what has continued because I haven't read Runaways in a while because I wasn't getting good reviews or senses from it. And I went and checked it out. And here we see the run. Now, first things first, the cover art here is spectacular. Look at
Hmm.
this cover art, dude. It is
Oh, can you
gorgeous.
can you go up? Can you go
Yeah,
up a bit? Can
yeah.
we just stare at that thick ass lady?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it is kind of
That's
dumb having a fat superhero. It is dumb,
no no
but you
no
can
no.
make
No.
it work. You could make it work. But I just wanted to say offhand that the art on the
You got
cover, at
all the
least,
right bits just to and
yes,
to go be all wobbling around, baby.
yeah, that's right. Okay, but it is beautiful art. However, I went and I checked some reviews, and if you check the cover art, you see there is a lot of wokeness here. I went and checked reviews, and basically, this series started and ended very quickly. It didn't last because no one was reading it, and the reviews on it are basically meh.
Mm,
I mean, that's the best review I could find was meh.
yeah.
Now there's some headlines that are like, "This is spectacular," and then you go down to the body of it and said, "Well, meh," right? And you know, it kind of says that they ended all kind of right. They kind of ended it Kinda is the word that is being used. So here we have a person who did not have a successful run. Did one issue, it looks like, of Miss Marvel, and basically did this runaway thing, which didn't succeed. So once again, we have an example of a person who has failed upward because they're moving on to, you know, She-Hulk. So, do you trust that this young adult author, this writer here, who did a failed, really looking at the really concentrating on the lesbian stuff and all the other nonsense SJW crap we see these days? Do you think that her run on She-Hulk, even though she has a better artist here than we had on She-Hulk previous, doing an actual She-Hulk, do you have any faith at all that this will be successful?
No,
No,
No.
no.
She-Hulk's not a draw.
No,
Even if it
she
was a great story, it's she's not a draw.
she's always
Um,
a cool little extra character, you know?
yeah, she's. I mean, I'm not trying to rag on her. Most comic book characters aren't a draw. It's just the truth. It's just she's just not.
Yeah, Booster Gold
She's
certainly isn't.
yeah. She's just not a draw. And even if it's great, which it could be very good, and I hope it is.
Yeah.
It's still just not going to move the needle enough to really make headway, make waves. But if it's decent enough that it gets positive press, and I don't mean like politically positive press, just positive,
Mhm.
you might see something more come out of it. Because at the end of the day, that's all this stuff is anymore. They're just farming for Netflix shows at this
They
point,
are. That is
or
true,
whatever Disney
and
Plus shows. I guess it would be now.
and this is being launched in tandem with the upcoming She-Hulk, Disney Plus series. Now,
Which is what they should have been doing since frickin' day one with all of their characters, but they're completely incompetent, and if it wasn't for the fact that the MCU was so popular, I think Marvel would already be relegated to below Disney's original character's status, like just pushed off to the side.
yeah.
But the fact that the MCU did make so much money is the only reason why I think Marvel even is relevant at all on any kind of any mainstream or otherwise. I think once Disney bought them and really put all that money and effort into the MCU, I don't think they ever intended to make the comic books matter when they bought them. That's not what they were buying them
No,
for.
that's not what they did. Yeah, that wasn't the point.
And now I
Clearly.
sounded a bit like
Um,
comic book nerd for a second. Like,
yeah.
freaking day one.
But now here's another thing to keep in mind with this is I went and I checked several articles on this, right? And each one of them, because the press coming out of Marvel is that this is the She-Hulk here is leading into and launching the next event, the next big event. Matter of fact, her storyline is so important, it's going to change the Marvel universe forever. That's what the press release from Marvel is. Right? I went and checked several sites. They're all saying the same thing. It's clearly coming directly from Marvel. So whatever they're doing with She-Hulk, they're going to change the entire universe of Marvel because of it, is what they're saying. Now, like I said, if you read the article here, it's all bubbly. It's all talking about, yeah, she's back. She's going to be a lawyer. She's going to do her stuff. Yada yada yada. There's nothing here to tell us anything about, or even a hint of what's going to happen here, other than the writer is Rainbow Rowell. And like I said, I went and researched her, and she's an unsuccessful SJW writer is what she is. So not only are we taking this unsuccessful writer, we're putting her on a new comic book. We're also saying that this comic book is going to change the entire Marvel universe. So not only is she failing up, she's failing up 5 tiers, right? So I don't know, man, because I know it. I put a lot of research into a She-Hulk story. Why would I bother? Because they seem very serious. Marvel seems very serious about what they're about to do with She-Hulk. It seems like they're putting all their pins on this She-Hulk, which is odd. Nothing.
I think it's I think here's what you call that. You call that desperation. Uh the MCU had a good run, had a great run, but it's done. It's done now. I think that, and that's not even like a dig because we don't like Endgame. Chester and I don't like Endgame. I just think that's enough. Like it was
Yeah,
24 movies or whatever it was. I think people are satisfied,
yeah,
and I think there is no demand anymore in the market for the MCU. At least not like there was. And that's just how things go. Things peak and they valley, and that's just the way it is. So I think what we're looking at here is a lot of this new stuff it comes off as desperate to me because they're trying to find something that they can hitch their wagon to carry their MCU or whatever you want to call it, whatever they call it now, forward. Because they don't really have anything. The thing that that Feige wanted to use, Captain Marvel, well, nobody likes her.
yeah,
Not just her, but the actress who plays her, nobody likes her.
yeah.
So that's out. Spider-Man is too white and male, so he's out. Uh, Even if they swapped in Miles Morales, sorry Miles, you're a charisma vacuum, you're out. Um, there's just nothing. They killed off. They got lucky, to be honest. Let's be honest about it. Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man was serendipity as hell,
Yeah, it was.
and that's why that stuff was successful at any level. Because if you would have started with the Captain America movie or the Thor movie or any of the other movies before you started with Iron Man, it would have fell on its face, and everybody be laughing at them because DC at the time was the successful superhero people, right?
Yeah,
That's in the movies with the Batman movies. Everybody would be laughing at them. They'd be nothing but a laughing stock and a joke and blah 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 blah. But Robert Downey Jr. came in and owned Iron Man and was super charismatic. And Favreau knew how to create a character and a world for that character to exist in that would get people to want to watch it, which he is incredibly good at, and he did with The Mandalorian as well. And because of it, they were able to actually launch stuff and literally change the movie business entirely with those 10 years. Um, but that time's done. They don't have a Robert Downey Jr., and even if he came back, I don't think he would draw people back. I just don't think that the energy is with them anymore. And all this stuff, you got this, and then they're doing the stuff with Scarlet Witch, and they're doing it with some other characters that they're clearly trying to find something they can use as a
yeah.
vehicle to pull this forward.
I think so.
Uh, and it's just not going to work. She-Hulk doesn't draw, and they're not going to change that just because they put more attention on her.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Thank you, Roger. I went and checked. Everything looks pretty good. I am operating at a minimum of 30 FPS. It should be fine. Hopefully, it's cleaning itself up. However, yeah, no, I agree with that. And, it is interesting for one little point here. She was Hulk. They were trying to do that whole thing they did with Lady Thor. This is the Thor, and it ain't ever going to change. Of course, that didn't last. And they did the same thing with Hulk. No, this is Hulk, and of course, she's back to looking more feminine, and she is She-Hulk again. So
Yes.
there are some shifts happening. And I don't know what to make of it. But the reason I took time on this simply was because Marvel really seems to be pinning their hopes on it. You got any comments on this, Booster?
No.
Okay,
Exactly. This is a perfect example of what I was just talking about. The energy's gone.
okay,
People are they're done. They've moved on.
Yeah, I
Honestly, I think the energy's
find
heading more towards DC's direction than it is to Marvel's in the last few trailers and stuff they've put out, especially. Maybe that's just because of right now that just happened, but I've been kind of feeling that shift toward the other way, away from Marvel. I think people are just not interested in these characters, like this Eternals movie. Nobody gives a shit about that. Uh, I just don't think they have it. They're scraping. I mean, for crying out loud, the Avengers, besides Captain America, they were scraping the bottom of the barrel then for popular characters. Like Thor's not a super popular character, at least he wasn't. And Hulk is Hulk. So you had Hulk and Captain America, who are probably the two most popular of that original group, right?
hmm
Probably, I would say probably Hulk, but Captain America is right up there with him.
Hulk's pretty
And
iconic.
yeah, and Hulk's just iconic and was Stan Lee's favorite character and all these things. But the Hulk movie, The Incredible Hulk, the one with Edward Norton, while very good, I loved it, had all kinds of problems because Edward Norton is a notorious diva
Oh
and
yeah, he's a pain in the ass. That's
refused to
true.
come back, or they just didn't want him back, or whatever. And then they ran into all sorts of issues once Disney bought him. They couldn't make a Hulk movie for contract reasons, and blah 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 blah. So he was out, is what I'm saying. What I'm getting to. Hulk was sidelined except for in Avengers movies and or other people's movies. So he's out. So there goes one of your big draws, if not the biggest draw of the original group. So if it's not for Robert Downey Jr. just hitting on all cylinders in that first Iron Man movie, and it just being a really fun movie, and it's still probably, in my opinion, the most rewatchable of the MCU, of all of them. I can rewatch that movie anytime and have no problem with it. Uh, if it wasn't for that, none of this would have happened, like I was just saying. And they're just not going to find that magic again. I
No.
know people who want them to, but it's just not going to happen. The only chance they had of finding it was Spider-Man. When they got Spider-Man and they brought him in and they flubbed it.
They made him a
Tom Holland
sycophant.
would, yes, Tom Holland could have been a great Peter Parker and a great Spider-Man. He could have, but they fucked it from day one. And I don't know why. I don't know why they didn't just say, screw it. We've been fairly comic accurate with most of these other characters. Let's just stick to the classic Spider-Man. Bring him in at a young age. Already Spider-Man, right? We don't have to necessarily do the full origin story. I actually like that. But bring him in. We'll establish him in another movie, which is what they did, which was all that was smart. And in Civil War, he was fine. He was actually quite good. And then they come to his own movie, and he's exactly what you said. He's a sycophant for Tony Stark.
He is. And the thing is, if you were going to do Peter correctly, he would have been calling Tony out for his bullshit. That's what
Yes.
Peter would have been done, right? Been doing.
Yes.
And that
He would have
angsty young.
been your middle child, right? The middle
I
child
mean,
who
you're supposed to
who
be the swing guy. You're supposed to
yeah.
go beef with Tony, then realize, wait a minute, these guys are dickheads, and I made a massive mistake revealing my identity.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, no,
Mm.
that's exactly what should happen. And Grimlock, I understand that they do that with every event. I know. My question is not that. My question is why She-Hulk, right? Why
I mean, I
She-Hulk?
don't hate it if they were competent and they could get the right actress and they could pull this off and somebody with some charisma who's sexy. Cool. I wouldn't mind a female-led MCU if the woman was, attractive to me. And I don't even necessarily mean physically, just something. Like, give me
Interesting,
something, sweetheart.
charismatic,
Yes.
something. But
But we're not getting that.
no,
Spoilers.
probably not. Yeah. And the thing with it is also, I agree that 20 some odd movie run up until Endgame. I'm rather happy with it all.
Yeah.
They all weren't 10 movies, but they were fine. Even something like Wakanda, which was Black Panther, which was one of the more mediocre ones. It was still okay. I enjoyed the thing. I would have much preferred that Endgame had done something clever and interesting. It was boring as shit what they did. It
Yep.
also was very disrespectful to the characters you just spent 20 movies with. So I'm not happy with Endgame, but in general, that run, I'm good. I'm good.
If it would have ended at Infinity War, I would have no complaints. It'd be one of the
That was
greatest,
a
if
good
not the
movie.
greatest, cinematic achievements of all time.
Yeah.
And even still, it's up there, right? Even with Endgame being absolute dog shit, it's still up there as one of the
Yeah.
biggest, and it's definitely the most bold, I would say.
You know,
They went out on the limb with that big time
and it was
with this
good.
huge extended universe deal, like never been done before. It's just I just don't think they're getting it back. I think they played their card. The gimmick aspect's gone, right? Because it was this big thing, but now it's a decade, bro. That's a long time. A decade, everybody's used to it now. It doesn't have that, oh, this is so special feel to it anymore. To the point that DC, yeah, they screwed the pooch with their own attempt at it by trying to rush, but they've pretty much just like, I don't think anybody wants that anymore. I think they just want good superhero movies or,
Yeah, I
decent
think
ones.
that's what you're seeing, and it's a smart move for them because they screwed it up.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what they should have done was they should have ended with Infinity War, gone into their Disney Plus stuff, and done a whole bunch of stuff that was dealing with the fallout of that, and for
Yes.
like 5 or 6 years, then come
Yep.
back and deal with Thanos. That would have been smart as shit, dude. That would have been epic. But they screwed it up, and the way they did it was dumb. But nevertheless, anyway, let's move on. I do have one other thing I wanted to look at today, and it's really really simple. And I know that I'm a lifetime comic book reader. Thundero reads here or there, and Booster is somewhat of a new comic book guy, but he really enjoys comics.
And I
So
read a lot.
you do read a lot, and you're which is great. You're catching up. But I'm just meaning that you're newer. You're newer to it. You've
Way
been
ahead of you
reading
nerds.
5, 6 years, something like that.
Uh,
So
Early 10.
oh, nearly 10. Okay, there you go. But the point being is, I wanted to take a look at what new comics have come out this week and what you would read. That's all I'm curious. I'm not going to go and review them and look at them. I'm just curious, just looking at the titles here and these covers, what would you be interested to actually pick up and read, right? So,
I was just walking by it, like I just seen it on the shelf.
yeah, yeah. Something that would catch your eye as
Ah,
comic book readers, right? Now, if we look at the top row, the only thing that really looks interesting to me at all is Frog Thor, because I've always thought that was funny.
it is funny.
Yeah.
Frog Thor.
Does anything in the top row look interesting to you guys at all?
I mean, I'm a sucker
Um,
for Nightwing.
I mean, I'll still check out that Batman because is it still being written by Tyrion,
I don't know. Let me
or is
check.
he out?
What? You're not going to give me? Oh, here we are.
Oh, right there.
Yep, it's
Who the fuck is
Tinian.
Vicky Clunan?
Well, that's your writer and James Tinian as well, right? And Michael Conrad.
Alright,
4 people to write a comic book
believe
because
that.
that's what you need.
Yeah,
Who's writing those Nightwing books? Who's on Nightwing right
I
now?
think it's Tom Taylor. Oh
No,
no,
it's well, these are
Yeah, Tom
creators though. That's
Taylor.
not a writer. Tom
Yeah,
Taylor,
Tom
yeah,
yeah,
Taylor's
Tom
right.
Taylor.
yeah,
Yeah,
Tom
Skip,
Taylor.
dude.
Skip,
Tom
yeah.
Taylor's the
Hard
fucking
skip.
worst.
yeah,
That's a shame because Nightwing's so awesome. Such a cool character.
yeah, yeah.
Tom Taylor
But
is the fucking worst.
all right, so we have our second row here. We got a Batman, X-Men, Star Wars, Catwoman, and Superman. Now, Son of Kal-El, is this the new one with our little
That's the
fairy
gay
boy Superman?
Superman. Yeah.
Yeah. So no,
Batman and Catwoman pass. X-Men Trial of Magneto could be cool. I haven't
could
heard
be.
anything about that though. Other than that, pass all the way around.
Yeah, yeah. I don't anything booster. Screw the High Republic for damn sure. So no.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
could give less of a. Oh, King Spawn.
King
Could
Spawn,
go
King
for
maybe,
Spawn.
maybe.
Yeah. Yep.
The Turtles, maybe. The Death of Doctor
who's on
Strange,
the.
no thank you. Suicide Squad,
Yeah,
maybe.
who's on the? It depends on who's on the Suicide Squad and who's writing it. If
Yeah.
it's the one with Peacemaker on it, then it might be fun.
It's Robbie Thompson.
Robbie Thompson. Sounds like a 1970s Daredevil. Robbie Thompson.
Yeah. We got a Green Lantern here, which I don't even know
See,
which Green Lantern is in that anymore.
exactly. Well, there's the big problem, right? That's what I was just gonna say. I like Green Lantern when it's the whole core. I like those stories. I don't really
Yeah.
like just individual Lantern stories
Those.
anymore.
Well, I used to, but the core stuff is more fun. We got Ice Cream Man here, which I know is quite popular.
Ice
Gunslinger
Cream Man.
Spawn, #1. Yeah, Ice Cream Man is very popular.
Gunslinger Spawn. I didn't even know that was a thing. Wait a
Well,
minute, a Western Spawn?
issue #1. So there you go.
So click on
That
that
sounds
real
right.
quick. Check that out. Who's doing
Introducing the
that?
launch of the second new monthly title spinning out of Spawn universe with one of the most popular characters in the entire Spawn mythology. This book contains 3 separate gunslinger stories, each taking a look at his journey through time from Wild Wild West to the 21st century. Okay,
I like that. So we got
Todd McFarlane,
McFarlane,
yeah, Alice,
Scott, and some other artists.
Philip
That's
Ton, yeah,
good. See, leave it to Todd to somehow psychically know that I want some form of infernal cowboy story. If I can't get Ghost Rider, I'll take Spawn.
yeah.
Shit.
Fair enough. Fair enough. This Captain America thing can go straight to hell.
Yeah.
Legends of the Dark Knight, maybe, maybe. Shazam, just
Nope.
basically because fuck that name, dude. What's wrong with you?
Yes. All the way around. I refuse.
Yep.
Eat the
I
rich. Oh
refuse
boy.
it.
I
Yeah.
refuse.
Refuse. And Eat the Rich, Boom Studios, written by someone who desperately wants to be rich, I am sure. Um,
Yes.
More Catwoman. They're really pushing Catwoman, huh?
Popular. She sells a little bit.
Batman thing here, Batman thing here. Lots of Batman stuff. Nubia, no thank you.
Yeah, that's
Black
a big
Panther.
problem. There's too much Batman. It's
Yeah.
Yeah,
preposterous.
it is. Black
And I
Manta.
love Batman. I'm pretty sure we all fucking love Batman here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
But fucking hell does he get pushed too hard.
he does.
too hard.
He does. Black Manta, maybe number 2. I wouldn't mind a Black
Yeah.
Manta book, dude.
Black Man is a good
Who
character.
who's writing it?
Well, let's check it out.
Let's see.
That's always my first question. Is like, who's writing it? Who's in it? What's happening?
Chuck
Because
Brown. Don't know who he
Chuck
is. Doesn't even have a
Brown.
picture. Not even worthy of a picture.
you know
Oh,
what? You know what, Chester?
Maybe that's a good
I'm
thing.
more comfortable with an unknown writer
Yes.
than a known one.
yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
Because a lot of the known writers are dog shit, right?
What is he
If a book
diving
is by
into
Tom,
there? What is that?
if it's a Tom
Monster.
Taylor, a Tom King, a Bendis, or for goodness fucking sake, a Brian Arzello, it's a skip.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might have to
But
check out that Gunslinger Spawn. That might actually get me to read a comic book.
there you go.
I might do it.
Yeah.
Booster, how long have I been on this nut about Cowboy Ghost Rider? Years. I've been wanting
It's
it.
been a while. It's been a while. I've had to fucking listen to it.
Yeah. The rest of the stuff here, I'm not interested at all. The next row, we
I'm
got
actually
some
gonna
indie
check out the
stuff.
Black Manta.
Yeah, I check out the Black Manta. That looks interesting. Do I have to check out who writes Gun Honey? I don't think so. I don't think so.
I
But
mean, it's not the writing that's drawing people to that book.
no,
Let's be completely honest.
Oh
Star
lordy,
Star Wars
eyes for
Adventures.
days.
Okay, fine. Okay, fine. You twisted my arm. Yeah. That's
Bunch of unknowns. I prefer it.
I don't think that gun is going to stay there very well. But
No, those
all
are
right.
some insane hips. Holy
Yeah,
monkey.
those are some very serious hips, and but you can find them in the wild. You can.
Yes, they
So
do exist.
yeah. But but anyway, that one I'm not actually interested in it, but it's a pretty girl. Refrigerator full of heads from DC
Okay.
Comics. Just the name makes me interested.
Oh no. Okay, click it and see
Okay.
if it's Gail Simone. I have a feeling.
No.
Nope.
No. Okay. So I
More
thought it was
unknowns.
to do with her woman
Yeah.
in fridges trope.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Just the name is interesting though. But it's DC, so it's really hit or miss. Coming down here, we got some more indie stuff. Made in Korea, yeah, whatever. Beyond the Breach, Ant #1 from Image Comics. Oh, maybe a new character. She's busty for an ant.
Looks like
Real.
they're trying to really capture a Silver Age thing there. You see
They
the
are.
captioning and the big stamp on it?
Yeah, no, that's true.
Good.
That's
They
true.
should.
Yeah. Got some Daredevil. How's Daredevil going recently? I've always liked Daredevil.
I think it's pretty cool at the moment. I think someone's taken over Matt Murdock and turned him fucking mad. Um, so
Little Daredevil Moon
we'll
Knight
see how that
action.
goes. What's that?
Little Daredevil Moon Knight action.
Something
That would
like
be
that.
fun. That would be fun. Yeah.
Mhm.
Uh,
I just hope the idea isn't to get Elektra to replace Matt Murdock.
oh, it is.
Oh,
It
it
is. It
probably
is. Most
is.
certainly
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
is, dude. Absolutely. You know it is. But
yeah.
I'd check out the Ant-Man one, maybe the Daredevil, although I know what they're doing, so I kind of know. But coming down here, Red Sonja is always a fun read. Maw sounds interesting. I don't know what it is, but it's from Boom. Boom has been kind of showing, kind of floating to
You
the
like
top
Boom?
recently.
You do like Boom?
Yeah. Yeah.
This Star Wars, pretty much to me now. Star Wars. If I see that, I'm just immediately turned off.
Yeah.
That's how badly they've killed it for me.
Yeah.
Miles
agree.
Morales next. That's
No. Yeah.
it's
Uh,
boring. Sorry.
Bermuda from IDW. Don't know what that is. Nita Hawes Nightmare. Maybe I like horror stuff.
The
Uh,
war.
yeah. Well, Man of War EXO. I used to love, but Valiant has lost their freaking mind. Dynamite's Red Sonja here. Black, white, red. I don't know. Red Sonja is always a fun little read. Uh,
Um,
no.
see who's drawing it.
Red Sonja.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chuck Brown and
Oh,
why
Chuck
is all
Brown
these
again.
writers, dude? Drew Moss and Sanya Anwar
Alright,
and Steve
Yeah, I don't
Beach.
know if that's a
never
good
mind then.
sign or a bad sign that we keep seeing all these. Maybe it's just this website doesn't have a picture of them, but all these relatively unknown writers that's probably a good thing. Maybe it's new blood, maybe it's some fresh stuff. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe, but it's also very questionable as well. We don't need fake Hawkeye, no thank you. Porcelain sounds interesting. Ablaze Comics, very indie. Um, Harrow and Country from Dark Horse, I like Dark Horse. Yojimbo still being made, that's interesting. Scooby Doo from DC Comics. Xenoscope, okay, there's got to be zombie titties. Heavy Metal is putting out comics now, straight comics. I didn't know that. Huh.
Interesting. Never, never.
Huh. That's interesting. They got another one down here in different cover. No, no, just both of them are coming out the same week. That's interesting.
That
Orville,
is
no,
Yo,
no, thank you. Uh, Killer Queens,
motherfuckers.
yeah, motherfuckers, yeah, yeah, okay, maybe. From Behemoth Comics, very indie. Killer Queens, no, thank you. Purgatory from Dynamite. Huh. Dungeons and Dragons. Oh, Dungeons and Dragon comics haven't been good in a very long time. This Betty Page thing is still continuing. People seem to like it, huh?
They do indeed.
Yeah. Uh,
Mind breaker.
I make boys cry. Oh,
Well, that's rude.
that's
That's why
rude.
she needs a man.
Yeah, I guess. Veronica Revenge. Okay.
That's
Lots
why
of
she needs her a man, isn't it, right, boys?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Great Gatsby. What? Great Gatsby has a comic book?
I guess
What's a
so.
Great Gatsby comic?
I don't know. It is a good, interesting story. No, the story of the Great Gatsby. But there's a lot of stuff here I don't know. Maybe
Is it
people in the
more
chat.
interesting than a fucking Leonardo DiCaprio movie? Because I was bored on my tits.
Yeah.
Well, no, not really. No, no. Yeah. My Little Pony still in the house.
Oh, yes! Western Comics is saved!
Save,
Booster's a brony confirmed.
save. Valkyrie. Lots of
Hyper
indie
thick.
stuff.
I like that name. I approve of that name, Hyper thick. I like that.
Hyper thick. Where'd you see that?
Right there. Right in the middle.
Oh, hyper thick. Yeah. Okay. All right. Fine.
I just told Booster the other night that the we need to start calling things turbo again.
Yeah.
Just turbo whatever. I like the
Yeah.
word turbo. It's not used enough.
Yeah. But I am happy to see so many indie things up in here, though, that are getting acknowledged. And over here in the chat, Adrian says heavy metal comics and magazines are super woke crap now. That's unfortunate, dude. See, I always read the heavy metal magazine. I didn't know they were making comics, individual comics. I didn't know that. I
Yeah.
should check out Usagi Yojimbo, says Somali. I don't know about the current ones, but in general, it was fun. I always enjoyed it when I was younger. Um, a fridge was not even halfway full of heads. That's true, Somley. They
Yeah,
needed
that's a
more
problem.
heads in there. Yeah. Somebody says Ablaze publishes a lot of interesting stuff. The Filipino comic, tease and manhwa, the berserk being a few. Oh, okay, all right. Booster loves to feel the faux fur on his skin. He does.
It's
He
true.
does indeed. He's all about
Yeah.
faux fur on the skin, especially the jiggly bits.
Especially if they jiggle,
Yeah,
boys.
yeah.
Oh, that's nasty.
Thank you.
Yeah, how long
I
can we keep up
appreciate
that facade? Because,
it. Yeah. But anyway, I think there, in general, I see a lot of stuff here I don't know, which makes me both cautious and interested at the same time. And then I see a lot of stuff I know that I'm just not interested in. There's just not a lot pulling my attention. And it's unfortunate that all of these indie things, I'm very cautious about it because I shouldn't be. When I was younger, if I saw a cool cover on some comic book company I didn't know, I'd usually pick it up. But then again, back then, it didn't cost me a lot to pick up comic books. These
Right.
days, it's so expensive, you have to be very choosy. And that's the unfortunate thing with this inflation in the comic book companies. $4, $5, $6 for a comic book. Are you kidding me? I used to be able to pick up 5 or 6 for that price, right?
Well,
Um,
like a good example, I'm looking at Gunslinger Spawn right now on imagecomics.com. $6.
Oh my lord.
yep.
$6 for Gunslinger Spawn. And it's like, okay, $6. It's not a lot of money, but it's a lot of money to just spend. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like just on something you're gonna take 20 minutes to read.
Yeah. And if you're a comic book reader, it's really killed you. Because
Yeah,
I used to have a pull list when I was younger, 30 comics, right? Easy. But you
yeah.
can't do that anymore, dude. You can't do
Oh,
that anymore.
when I was reading them regularly in high school, I probably almost that. I would get it, every other week or every week or whatever, because I was working. See, because in high school I was working, still living with my parents, so I didn't really have any bills or anything. This was before cell phones were a big deal, so I didn't have one of them. So I just spent my money on video games and comic books. To
Yep.
the point of during the PS2 era of video games, I had hundreds of them, just hundreds of games, because they had so much just actual diversity of the games. You could find cheap games and whatever. And I don't even know, I had boxes full of comic books, just boxes of them that I would just, buy, read. Most of them I just forget about right after I was done reading it because, they were crap. But that it was just the way it was. And you can't do that reasonably now unless, you just have money to blow on whatever.
Yeah, no, no. I
But
mean,
they've priced themselves out of being impulse buys. And that's stupid. That's exactly where their price point should be, is an impulse buy.
yeah, and I used to spend 30 some bucks a month on comic books. Now you'd have to spend 150, 200 bucks. That's a
Yep.
big difference, dude. And it
Yes.
restricts you on just simply trying out things. And that I think is the most harmful part. I guess we do make a little bit more money now than we did then, but let's keep in mind here, especially with inflation starting to slam us in the head pretty hard, that if you compare what you made for me, for instance, in the 80s, compared to what if I was doing the same job now, it's what, a dollar 50 more an hour over
It's
40
not. It's
years?
nowhere near enough. Is what it is. It's nowhere near enough. The wage stagnation is real,
Yep. And you
and
know
the
why it
inflation
is?
is worse.
You know why it is? We
Tell me.
don't have a free market.
No, that's true.
Yeah. If we had a free market, an actual free market, and get these goddamn politicians out of the way and let it do what it does, everything would be copacetic. You'd be making more money, or stuff wouldn't be as expensive. It would balance itself. That's the whole reason why capitalism
Guys, have
works,
a good one.
but
I
we're
need to
not
go.
in
Love you.
that.
Bye. Mwah.
Bye. I mentioned economics in 1 second, he's gone. Jesus, man. But it's
But
true.
no, it's and it's. What do you even say about it? You know what I mean? Like this last year, most Americans took a at least 2% or roughly 2% pay cut because of inflation in 1 year.
Oh, yeah.
Because the average rate of wage growth was like 4.5%, and it was almost 6% inflation in 1 year, something like that. I can't remember the exacts, but it's something to that effect.
Yeah.
And that is just untenable. Like it's just untenable. Well, eventually the something's got to give here.
Oh no,
And
absolutely. Yeah. I tell you what needs to give. Frickin' politicians. That's what needs to give.
yes,
I'm just curious how long it's going to take before we realize we don't need them. They do nothing for you. They do, and I don't. I'm not talking about one political party or another. I'm talking about all of
yeah,
the assholes. They,
no,
they
screw
do
them all.
nothing for you. They add nothing of value. There's no need for them. We have no necessity. We have a system of law which we really need to chop back, because all these damn politicians do is sit there and add new laws on top of laws we already have, just so they can point out to their constituents and say, look what I did. Look what I did. Vote for me again. They get in there for 2 to 6 years, depending on what house they're in. And all they do is spend 90% of that time trying to get reelected. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of money. It hurts us as a society. They do nothing for us whatsoever. So, am I promoting anarchy? You better fucking believe I am. Yeah, an actual true anarchy. And why do I feel like a Grimlock is standing behind me, breathing on my neck?
It's probably my fan. Can you hear my fan? They got.
Maybe I don't know what it is, but I thought for sure it was Grimlock. Anyway, It's actually hurting us. And I'm telling you, you're going to see a massive spike in inflation over the next year or two. It's going to get ugly, dude. It already is ugly. It's going to get worse because the problem is what you have right now is Democrats are in place. They've always been here, but they're in a panic. I really feel they're in a panic, and they see that this is their for some reason this is their last opportunity to get all those juicy little things they want in place in right now. This big budget thing they're trying to pass, this multi-trillion-dollar deal, it's full of socialist crap, dude. It's absolutely chock full of it, right? Just nonsense, stupid shit that is wasting money. And the thing is, when I was younger and you pay taxes, I never had trouble paying taxes. It never bothered me to pay taxes because I see the value of where my money's going, and it's okay because I'm not a person that thinks that we shouldn't have any socialistic platforms. I don't have a problem with some low end subsidies for medical things. I mean, poor people help them out, right? Education, things like that. I don't mind socialism being used or social industries being used for the low end. I don't mind that so much. I'm not super against it. But you're getting to the point now that you're going to get so badly squeezed out, and it's exactly what they want. And we need to get past this. We need to remove these people. And I cannot tell you how absolutely thrilled I am to see the absolute socialist Europe pushing back in harsh, heavy ways against these vaccine passports. Because all across Europe, in every damn European country that is pushing it, which is the western part of Europe, you're having thousands to hundreds of thousands of people in the streets complaining about this vaccine passport stuff. I'm actually surprised we're not seeing more of it in America. And keep in mind, all those people, those hundreds of thousands of people that are in the street, they are part of that socialist system that is Europe, and they're pushing back. So they're finally starting to get a clue, dude. Yeah.
So let's hope. I think I've been saying for a long time, there's a lot of people like me who want the American government gone. At least the one we have and have had my whole life. But you can't force that kind of change.
Yeah.
Once the conditions are right for the type of person or people to come forward that can make that happen, a leader, if you will, they will show up. And until the American people are ready, and as we're seeing in Europe, a lot of the European people seem to be ready for that to happen.
Yeah.
We will continue to see what we've been seeing. Now, I think a lot of people, not so much me, but a lot of people were hoping that man was Trump. That Donald Trump was the guy who's going to come in and bring the reforms that was necessary to save the union, or however you want to put it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was telling people he's not. We're not there yet. We're close. We're getting there, but we got a few more steps before we get to Caesar. And it's good to see. It's very encouraging to see a lot of Europeans, especially in Italy. They're not even just protesting; they're just straight up Atlas shrugging, shutting down ports and everything else.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Well, Italy has like some of the most draconian vaccine rules in place. I mean, literally, you can't go out of your house without a vaccine passport in Italy, and
Yeah, it's preposterous.
it's ridiculous. They're all out of control, and I
The
think
absolute safest place you could be is in direct sunlight.
yeah, absolutely.
Safest for everybody on the planet. No virus on the planet of Earth survives long in direct sunlight
No, it doesn't like it.
because they don't have skin. People, they don't have skin to protect them from UV radiation. So UV radiation just obliterates them. Literally, just smokes them out like they're vampires.
And I think also the reason why America hasn't blown up as much is because, well, over 30 of the American states aren't doing that anyway. What, 36, 38
Well,
states
that's
aren't doing
exactly
that?
what it is. People were saying, people even in our chat would say things like, "Well, if nobody's going to do anything now, when they shut everything down, no one will ever do anything." That's because the store shelves were mostly not bare. People still had food, people still had what they needed,
Right.
and because the places where that sort of rebellion, that sort of resistance would metastasize, they didn't do that really, or they did it very briefly and then they undid it very quickly. So it's not really a fair thing to say. Now, if the whole country had behaved like, say, New York, I think it might be a different story today.
Yeah.
Uh, but it didn't, and that's a good thing. And now you have the balkanization of America is proceeding nicely, which I think is the other reason you're not seeing massive protests. Because people, the way they're protesting is they're just leaving. They're
Yeah.
done. They've had
It's
enough of
passive.
these areas and these politicians, and they're moving out to places where they don't have to deal with them, whether that be Texas or Florida or Ohio or wherever. Places where the politicians might be stupid, but at least they're not insane. At least most of them.
Yeah.
And that is what we're seeing happening. It's a balkanization. It's happening in real time. A great sorting is happening in this country right now. And it will continue to happen until eventually the union falls apart.
Yeah.
Officially. It's already broken. I mean, everybody knows it. We can't live with each other anymore. It's preposterous to think we can. I mean, the left and the right, or just the left in normal people, just they're completely diametrically opposed to the way they want to live their lives. And eventually that egg will crack.
Yeah.
And once it does, that's it.
True, but do keep in mind we are talking about 20% of the population, and roughly. And of course, they're the loudest. They're the ones that making all the noise, and they're not necessarily all lefties. They're righties too. They're the extreme noisy people. That 20%. So
The problem
you know,
is bigger than that 20%, though, because the Democrat Party is 100% an authoritarian party now. They
well,
don't even hide it. That's
they're
what
all
they are.
part of that 20%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. You
And
know.
they are in control of all of the major cities, and they have been for decades, and that's not going to change no matter what Republicans wish. It's not going to change. They have those cities locked down, whether through legitimate voting or otherwise. You're not flipping them. Sorry. Sorry to bust everyone's bubbles, but you're not going to turn Detroit red. No matter how bad it gets. They're going to keep voting the same way because they voted for it to begin with.
Well, let them burn.
And the reality of it is the only way to solve this problem, all these problems, inflation, all of it, is the system has to go. The federal government has to go out of our lives, and coalition new governments have to be instituted. Declaration of Independence states it very plainly. It is the law of the land that we have the right to alter or abolish any government that we see fit.
Yeah.
And we have to be doing that. That is what everybody who isn't an insane person in this country, or or even if you're not an authoritarian, that is where you need to be putting your energy politically. It's not about Republican or Democrat or any of that nonsense. That's all nonsense. Or libertarian. It's all nonsense. What it's
Yeah.
about is liberty. Do you
Yeah.
want to live and leave a country that was equal to, or at least equal to, but hopefully better than the one you were raised in?
Yeah.
A
And do you
freer
want to pay
one.
less than $6 for a freaking comic book?
Yes, there's no reason comic books should be. We're in America. People just don't understand how rich the land here is. This is by far the richest continent in the world, North America. It's not even close. The next closest one, believe it or not, is Africa. But for some reason, we can't get cheap paper. We can't print comic books cheaper than $6 a head for the normal person. That's preposterous to me.
Yeah. Well, because
Preposterous.
for some reason tree farms are evil. I don't understand
Yeah.
it, but because to be fair, when they first came in here, a lot of people talk about the age of this or the age of that, and during the initial, migrations to America, you would really call that the age of wood. Right. And that's why
Yeah.
America took off because literally from the East Coast to the Mississippi River, it was just covered in trees. They had an old expression back in those days that a squirrel could go from the Mississippi to the Atlantic Oceans and never touch the ground. And that amount of wood was a frenzy. And so much it was being sent back to Europe, of course. But
Yeah.
we got to a point that the frenzy stopped, and we started being, thinking long term. And we have
Yes.
had tree farms and other things like that in America for centuries. This is not a new thing. This is not
No,
coming out of the 50s and 60s and 70s. It is a long term thing. And of course, it's as it should be. You should farm your things and make
it's
your money and
coming out of the conservative farmers and the conservative
sure,
lumberjacks.
because they want to have
The
future. Yeah.
right, that's how they preserve things. Like the other thing is America is one of the only, I think we might be the only country that is very near uh, completely neutral on our wood farming, on our timber farming, because of our wood farms. To the point now, there's more trees in America now than there was 150 years ago.
Yeah, no, no, we are
Because
actually positive in that.
yeah,
America
because we
is,
do it. We're the only ones that do it smartly. I think us and
yeah,
Japan. I think Japan's pretty good too. Are the only ones that do it very well. And Japan didn't have a choice. They're small. They're not a very big country.
right.
Uh,
And the Americans implemented that. Keep that in mind.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So it's
no,
it's just it's just another case of America leading the way in a lot of ways and not getting credit for it. We get a lot of shit for our pollution, and yeah, we do pollute a lot. That's true, but we also are the ones solving the problem. And
yeah,
we have been the ones solving the problem for a long time. And we're not doing it through government regulation. We're not doing it by taxing people. We're doing it by just letting nature do its thing. We're doing it the smart way. Trees will grow if you let them grow. Just let them grow. And
yeah,
go
no,
chop over there where the tree's been growing. And then you can just do a nice big circular square motion. And just, there you go. Now you got trees forever. Everybody wins.
yeah,
There's
no,
no
that's
losing
true.
in this.
America is positive in most resources, not at all, but mostly we are. And as far as pollution goes, we are one of the cleanest first world countries on earth,
Yeah,
right?
especially
Uh,
per capita.
So over the past 50 years, America has done a lot to become cleaner. And I'm
Yeah.
okay with that. See, that's actual ecology.
That's actual conservatism.
Yeah.
A
Um,
conservative should want to protect his land, his nation. I personally don't believe that conservatism can be separated from nationalism. I just don't see how that makes sense. That should be the whole point of conservatism is to preserve the nation.
yeah.
And part of preserving the nation is preserving the nation's land. Part of that is making sure you don't deforest too much. Part of that is making sure one of the big problems we're having now that no one wants to talk about, that is serious, that is the biggest red flag, far worse than global warming, is our arable soil in the United States of America is running out. We feed the world. If that happens, problem, big problem.
Yeah.
We have depleted it so much with some of these factory farming methods that it's something like a lot of the soil is only like 15% of its normal, basically
Yeah.
fertility. That's insanely low. That's like
Well,
near extinction level low. That's not good.
well, you know how you solve it, right?
You just stop farming with that with what you're using.
Well, yeah, but
That's
or you go back to smaller, mom and
yes,
pop
community
farms.
farms.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, community farming is that should be if listen if the government wants to convince me that they're here to help, they should be literally breaking up corporate farms and helping community farming become a thing.
Yeah.
I don't care who's doing it as long as someone's doing it. Like
Yeah,
the
no,
idea that they should just throw blanket subsidies at certain kinds of food is stupid. It's
yeah.
dumb. It's typical of the government. It's a broad sword when you need a scalpel.
Yeah.
Because what would be far more beneficial for the environment and far more beneficial for the nation and for society and for community would be communal farming.
Yeah, no, I
Build
agree.
up build up small little rural towns again around where the farmers are and just spread out from there.
Yeah, no.
And then we could continue doing what we've been doing, which is feed the whole damn world.
Yeah, no, we should be the greatest agrarian nation in the world. That's true. And
Yep,
it's it's weird too because if you can see a very clear difference in this regard when we're talking about farming. And do keep in mind the most conservative point of view you can have is we as humans are responsible to husband this planet, right?
that's right.
That is our job,
It's
right?
the most Christian point of view. It's
It is a very
literally God's
Christian point of
first
view.
commandment to
Yeah.
Adam.
Yes. Care for
Literally.
things. Yeah. But if you take a look at these big Monsanto and these collective, corporate farms, they're just mile after mile after mile of farm, right? It's just fields, right?
Yeah.
But if you go look at a mom and pop, what they'll do is they'll have their fields, and in between, and they'll of course rotate them,
Yeah.
leaving some fields fallow, and it's usually done on a 7-year cycle, right?
Yep.
Also, what you'll notice is between fields, they'll leave hedges. And in those hedges, you'll have trees, maybe some orchards, and you'll have
Yes.
like a very robust biome in between each of the fields. And what that does is it has all of the insects and all of the life that's inside of that helps to foster the field itself. But a big farm
Correct.
company like Monsanto, they don't do that. It's literally mile after mile, as far as you can see, of just fields. There's no ecology taking place whatsoever. Something that a mom and pop or even a community farm would do automatically because it's how you farm. These guys are not doing that, and we're
Right.
seeing not only trouble in America with this, we're seeing trouble in Africa with it, which don't have the kind of soil we have in America, right?
Correct.
India has been absolutely blasted by Monsanto and the stuff they're doing over there, and those people are in trouble when it comes to food production. And and the only reason why America has survived a little better than those other places where these big corporate farms are working is because 12,000 years ago we had an absolute cataclysm, and the
Yep.
majority of America, particularly the middle, was caught in this freaking flood that was miles high. Right,
Yeah.
literally, and it just put down such a thick layer of sediment and nutrient that we're still kind of living off of it. But
Yep.
if you bring the farmer, the real farmer back, they will maintain that and keep it going for generations. It's weird that we're sitting here talking about comic books and now we're talking about farming, but does it not apply? It applies
It does.
because inflation is coming out because of the over corporatization. Oh, is that a word? Of the world, and these people pushing. They say they want to help things, but what they're doing isn't going to help. Making everything more and more corporate and kicking you out and making you just a money slave. That's not going to help you, and it's not going to help the environment for damn sure.
Correct.
And Jiminy is something has happened to Jiminy. Oh, oh well.
I
Anyway,
agree with Adrian. It is all part of the plan. They know what they're doing, and I honestly think they want a massive famine.
they
It's
do.
the only thing that makes sense. It's the only thing
Well,
that makes sense when you look at what they're doing because they know everybody knows that you have to do crop rotation. This isn't new.
yeah.
This isn't something we just came up with last year. This has
No,
been around since God knows
it's
how
in the
long we've been
Bible,
doing it.
dude. It's in the
Yeah,
frickin' Bible.
you have to rotate your crops and you have to let the soil replenish itself every so often. And they're just not doing it in a lot of these factory farms, like you're saying in Africa. It's a big problem. A lot of the pollution in Africa's waterways is because of all the runoff from these
Yeah,
from these big farms,
they're
and
obliterating
it's
the soil. Yeah,
yeah, they obliterate the soil and then they obliterate the waterway, which so it can't be it doesn't replenish because that's how one of the ways it replenishes. What you were talking about with the hedges, where I
yep,
used to play paintball back in the day, with my buddies, there was a farmer who would let us play in his hedge. He had nice little, I don't know, maybe an acre or two of just a nice little forest right in the middle of his field.
sure.
And he'd let us play. It had a little creek that ran through it. It was great. He'd let us play paintball in there. But other than that, it was just fields on each side, like in a nice little square on
Yep.
each side of it. Brilliant idea,
Well, it's how
and it
you
just
do it.
comes from yeah, it just comes from people who know how to do it. Right? They're not greedy.
Generations.
They're not over farming. They're not. They're no. Don't get me wrong. A lot of farmers they got good money. They're not broke, but they're not rich either. And
They're not.
there's
This
because
is
they have to earn it.
yeah.
Right? They have to work on it. But these corporate farms don't care. And the reason they don't care is because they're corporate companies. They have 15 at least different money revenue streams. So if the farming stream doesn't make them money, that's okay because they get it on the other side. And they don't care if they deplete the soil. They don't care if they treat the animals terribly and inject them full of nonsense. I do. I That's one of the things I hate is factory farming. I think especially with livestock, it should be outlawed. We shouldn't even use it. There's no reasonable reason it should exist, and the way they treat those animals is beyond morally
It is
reprehensible.
bad. It is bad. Yeah.
Yeah,
And the thing is, if you put it back to the farmers, actual farmers running all that land, your productivity would go way up. They would produce more, actually.
Yes.
And but anyway, you're beating a dead horse with this conversation because we know that's this is what's going on. But nevertheless, until something pops, we're not going to get a change. And you're right. I think I don't know whether it was Joshua or someone said, maybe Adrian said in the chat, part of the 2030 project, the long-term project that they say openly, publicly, these things can be. You can go search them out. This is not hidden secret stuff. One of the final part of their plan is population reduction.
Yep.
Right now, it's shocking to me that they would say that openly on interviews, but they do. The end of it, after they get past their 2030 plan and getting rid of meat and getting rid of cars and all that stuff that you like, after they get rid of all of that, their final step is population reduction. Now, it's an interesting thing to say. Well, how do you do that? How do you reduce population? I mean, how many billions do you want to murder, sir? I mean,
Exactly.
you know. So yeah, they do want a famine. They want everything to collapse. They want civil war in America, in the West. They want to tear it down because they want to put you back into your serfdom, and that's what they want. And unfortunately, they are winning. I mean, they are.
Sadly.
Yeah. Anyway, that's comic books news today.
We
Uh,
did talk a lot about comic books, though. We just got off on this tangent about farming.
we did talk a lot about comic books, and the tangent took us off because of the price of comic books and how
Yes,
it's even more expensive than you think it is because inflation, keep that in mind, is a tax on the poor. That's what it really is,
that's
right?
right.
So it's actually more expensive than you would imagine, even though it's $6, right?
Yeah,
That it's actually worse. And it's sad, because every single hobby is being affected that way. When I first got into the board gaming hobby, I could pick up pretty much any game for 20, $30. Now they're 80, $100. I mean, for a
crazy,
board game, dude,
crazy.
right? It's crazy.
Just madness.
Anyway, thank you all for coming in. I do appreciate all the iconography. I think you guys got bored. I'm sorry about that. Just blame Booster. It's always his fault. So,
Yeah, it's always
yeah,
Booster's fault.
it's Booster.
Always.
Yeah. But anyway, thank you all for coming in. Do keep in mind tomorrow we are trying to wrap up our D&D campaign. So go back and check that out if that's something you're interested in. And other than that, we'll be having I don't know what the Drone Quarter is this week, but come check it out anyway. It's always great to see cool art. But thank you very much. And I guess it's time for Thundero to take us out of here, man.
It is indeed. It's been a fun show. We actually did talk a lot about comics today. We got to look at some cool comics, like that Gunslinger Spawn. It is a little pricey in my opinion,
It
but
is.
still a really cool concept that I really wish more people would have a little fun with
Yeah.
these high concept characters like Spawn or like Ghost Rider. I think you can do something really cool with the Old West, some steampunk, something like that.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I think we had a pretty good show. We had a nice little conversation. I hope everybody had a good week. I had a pretty good week. Me and Adrian actually, and our wives and my nieces and nephews and his lovely children. We went and had a good time at a Halloween theme thing, dressed up in Halloween costumes. It was a good time. I hope everybody's enjoying this time of year. To get out there, go throw something silly on, and just have some fun. Because the solution to everything that we just talked about, all of it, at the end of the day, is to just laugh in their face. That's it. Just laugh at them. Just mock them until they are in obscurity. Mock them, and then mock them some more just for good measure.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Yeah. Night. Namaste.